There you go.
There you go. Okay.
Abba, welcome back.
We got a smoker on the screen. We got a drinker on the screen. Let's anything more than that. Any more vices than that? Let's leave it. Let's stop the vices right there. Yeah.
It's great to see Abba. Great to see Abba.
That's right. Yeah. There you go. Where is he?
Keep it up, aim.
Oh, there he is.
Here.
Yeah. All right, Abba. Welcome. Anyway, so yesterday we learned how you get, whether the things that you're doing hatmana, whether you're insulating with, do they have to be wet from themselves or not? Because we said whether they're wet or not, whether they have to be wet from themselves. Then we said that you can do hatmana with peiros and with bird feathers, which we said specifically feathers of a yoina, of a dove. And then we had that story with the tefillin, of Elisha Bal Kanafayim, with the interesting story that his tefillin turned into feathers. All right, by the way, I forgot to say this. The Magen Avram brings in Shulchan Aruch that the reason why some have the minig that you tie your ritzuas, and when you tie the ritzuas of the tefillin on either side of the bottom, meaning instead of tying all on one side, some people have the minig that they do half on one side of the bias and half on the other. You get what I'm saying? Meaning you want it to look like wings. It's because of this Gemara. The Magen Avram brings that's why some have the minig. Not the Shalroish, I think that's the way you do it.
I was actually taught to do it that way, never knew why.
What, the Shalroish or the Shalyad?
Shalyad also.
Yeah, that. Now you got it. After all these years, now you got the reason. Baruch Hashem.
Well, explain that again. Wings
because where? the story that you weren't there on Friday on the daf.
I know.
You're talking about when you wrap up your tefillin when you're done?
When you wrap up the tefillin when you're done. Right? So then you wrap half on one side and half on the other side. Why not just wrap everything on one side? Right? I mean, I wrap everything on one side, but many have the minig to wrap on both sides. And the Magen Avram says that comes from that you want it to look like wings. So you want the straps on either side looking like wings.
Why do we want it to look like wings?
What?
And why do we want it to look like wings?
Because of the story on Amud Aleph about his Rabbi Elisha Bal Kanafayim, his tefillin, when he was caught wearing tefillin when he wasn't allowed to, his tefillin turned into doves. Right? Okay, and then we had the mission.
When you do go to the recording, you'll see by accident I messed up. I recorded it to my hard drive, so it actually recorded the entire view of everybody, not just the speaker. So.
Oh, really? It doesn't usually do that?
No, usually it's just whoever talks.
I hear you.
But I see Landau does Chazara very well on
I never usually miss, so that's the point in your face. I was dealing with something on Friday. Yaakov knows. Bye.
All right. Anyways. Okay. So then we had the Mishnah of whether you could do atmana with skins, leather skins or not, or whether that's muktza. And then we had a whole back and forth whether it's whether a private person's skins, that for sure we said is not muktza. But what about somebody who plans on selling them? So we had a whole back and forth with that. And then we had this whole lamites malachas, where it comes from. Ultimately, the Gemara said that the lamites malachas comes from that there were 39 different. What are you thinking about? 39 different malachas that were done in the Mishkan, and that's what the 39 represents. Okay, so begizei tzemer metalton, 4 lines up from the bottom of Mem Tes Amud Beis. So Amar Rava, lo yishanu elo shelo taman behem, aval taman behem metalton l'noisan. Right, so Rava has a little different. So we said in the Mishnah that when you do hatmana with gizei tzemer, right? So then they're muktza, and you can't take them. And you can insulate your food with gizei tzemer, with shearings of wool, but because you're going to use them to sell or you're going to use them for clothing, you don't want they're muktza because you can't do anything else with them on Shabbos. So Rava seems to say differently. This that it's muktza, that's only if you don't use it for insulation. But if you do use it for insulation, then you are allowed to take it. So that Rabbanan from that day, meaning it seems like he was the Rashi says on that day, that was the first day he was in Bismedish. So he was in the first day he was in the Bismedish, and he opened his mouth. Yeah, he says right. So the Mishnah says if you're going to do hatmana with wool. So what are you going to do? And you can't take them. So how does he do it? Right. So this we said in the Mishnah. You take the cover off the pot or the cover off the whatever box you're insulating, and they fall down. So you clearly see in our Mishnah, a lot like Rava, that they're muktza even when you use them for hatmana. Again, Rava had said that the Mishnah says that hatmana is not muktza, is not muktza. That wool is not muktza. That's only if you don't use it for hatmana. But if you use it for hatmana for insulation, then it becomes not muktza, and that clearly is against our Mishnah. So the Gemara says, Gemara answers, Ali Yitmar Hochi Yitmar. When did the Mishnah say that it's muktza, that wool is muktza? That's only if you didn't specify that you're using it for atmana. I mean, you just happen to have picked up some wool from the floor and you used it to insulate. But had you specifically on Friday afternoon said, I am using this wool for atmana, then the wool will not be muktza. Because then it's like taking a rock before Shabbos and saying, I'm using this rock for Shabbos, and therefore you're making it non-muktza. So that's what Rava meant. Itmanami kiyasa Rabban Amar Rav Yaakov Amar Rav Asi ben Shol Amar Rebbe Leishanu El Shali Yichan Atmana. This Mishnah wasn't taught only if you didn't specify that you're using it for Atmana. But if you specify that you're using that wool for Atmana, then you are allowed. Then it loses its muktza status, like everything else loses its muktza status. If you before Shabbos you say, I don't want this rock to be muktza, or I don't want this wool to be muktza, or I don't want this wood to be muktza, etc., then it's not going to be muktza on Shabbos. Which the Gemara is going to give a different entire sound. Then the Gemara is going to get into that whole din of how you specify something is not going to be muktza on Shabbos. Ravina says that the Mishnah is talking about on a commercial level, right? So, which is meaning for business. The wool was being used for business. So therefore, since the wool is being used for business, of course it doesn't lose its muktza. But if you have stam wool laying around your house, that will lose its muktza status, and you can do whatever you want. Gizet tzemer of a heptic of like a commercial level, you can't carry it. But if the balabais fix it and makes it that he could use this wool to insulate, then it works. Tana, yeah. Okay, so now that's the end of that teretz. Now the Gemara is going to discuss how are you meyachid. Hold on a second. Yeah, so now the Gemara is going to discuss how do you specify. It's actually interesting. I don't want to say actually interesting as opposed to other things that are not interesting, but it's interesting. Like, how do you go about saying something that would be muktza on Shabbos, but before Shabbos you want to make it that it's not muktza? Do you have to do a maisa? Do you have to actually physically do something to it? Or you can just sit on your couch and say, oh, that rock outside in my driveway I want to use on Shabbos. Right? Meaning there's going to be three options for how you go about doing it. So Tana Rav Chana Kamei de Rav. So Rav Chana said in the name of Rav, Charoya shel dekel shegidron le'etzim. If you have these bundles of date tree branches, shegidron le'etzim, and you planned on using them for wood, but nimlach alein, nimlach means you changed your mind. Right? So you had a bundle of these pieces of wood laying on the floor outside your house. So you planned on using this wood for whatever it is that whatever you planned on using it. And then, and then you said, you know what, I'm not going to use this wood for a house or for a fire or whatever it is. He changed his mind and he decided, I'm going to use these as a chair. I'm going to use this wood to sit on, to make it like a bench. So tzarech lakasha. If you want it not to be muktza, you have to actually tie them up in a knot or whatever, in a bundle before Shabbos. Meaning, what he holds, Rabbi Barchana holds, that you have to actually do a maisa in order to show that these things are not going to be muktza. That's the first sheet. Rav Shimon Gamliel Omer ain't tzarich l'kasha. But he says, Rav Shimon Gamliel disagrees. Says you don't have to tie them. You can just say that that we're going to use them for sitting, and since sitting is something that you can do on Shabbos, so therefore there's nothing else that has to be done. Who tani love, who amar law, halacha Rav Shimon Gamliel. So he learned this, and he said that halacha is like Rav Shimon Gamliel, that you don't have to do anything to it, which is the way that is the way we paskin. But let's see weiter. Itmar Rav Amar Koisha, and we have a three-way machlokes. Rav says you have to tie it up. Shmuel Amar Choishev, Shmuel says all you have to do is think about it. If you sit on it, even though you don't tie it up, and even if you didn't think about it. So Rav Yossi is somewhere in the middle. He's saying if you actually physically sat down on this wood before Shabbos, then that's fine, even if you don't tie it up, and even if you didn't think about it. So meaning, so let's say the guy on the way to his house decides to rest and sit down on this wood, and then he had no idea whether he was going to decide to use this wood on Shabbos. Since he sat down on it before Shabbos, that's enough to make it that it's no longer muktza, even if he didn't have it in his mind, right? So Bishlam, Rav Huda Amar Ketana Kama. So Rav says like Ketana Kama. What do you say?
Why is it matter? Why is sitting according to Shmuel matter before Shabbos?
Because by sitting on it, you're showing that you plan on doing it for something heter. Because it's mutter, meaning the wood, till you sat on it, the wood is meant to be used for chveis, whatever, to build, which would make it muktza on Shabbos. But now that you sat on it, sitting on it is something that's mutter on Shabbos. So therefore, he showed that since this thing is not going to be necessarily used for something that's muktza on Shabbos, so therefore it's not muktza, right? Yeah. So that's what he's saying.
Is it
Shmuel,
a dafka for whatever activity you're planning using it for? Or you haven't used
no,
example?
no. I think once you sat on it, now that's a mutter use. I think you could use it for anything. That's why I understand it.
Meaning you said sat because he wants to sit, but you mean if you wanted to use it for a table and he sat on it, it would also be okay.
Yeah. As that's why I understand it, but that's what I think. Yeah. Again, so now we have this two Amirayim are clearly going like the two Tanoim, but Rav Asi doesn't seem to go like anybody, right? So again, Bishlam Rav Huda Amar Ketana Kama, we're about 10, 12 lines down Nun Amar Aleph. Right, so Bishlam Rav Huda Amar Ketana Kama, Shmuel Nami Huda Amar Rav Shimon Gamliel. So Rav says like the Tana Kama that you need to actually tie it up, and Shmuel says like Rav Shimon Gamliel that you don't have to do anything. And Rav Asi Damar Kaman, who does Rav Asi go like? Gemara answers Huda Amar Ki Yatana de Tanya. He went like this man Domer that we learned in the Brayz that it says Yaitzim Befkurin Ubetzipa. You can go out Befkurin Ubetzipa B'zman Shetzavan. These are types of I don't know how you touch them exactly. It's some sort of flax or wool that's combed out, sort of like a bracelet, and you use it as to protect your skin. If you have a cut on the skin, so you use this to protect your skin. So the Gemara says, "Yaitzin b'bikurin u'b'tzipa b'zman shetzavan b'shemen." When you dye it with oil, b'karchon b'mashicha. Well, the question is, are you got as the word shemen? Shetzavan b'karchon b'mashicha. Basically, you put oil on it. Then, if you put oil on these things, let's say you have a cut on the wrist. Let's say somebody has a cut on the wrist, right? And he takes this flax that was combed out, so it's sort of like a bracelet, or wool that was combed out. And the problem is that he doesn't want the clothing that he's wearing to affect the cut, right? So this is not refuah, because it was refuah, it would be asur on Shabbos. What it is, sort of like a Band-Aid, right? It's a Band-Aid that you would put near the cut. So the way you show that it's a Band-Aid is by putting oil on it. So again, Yaitzim b'bikurin u'b'tzipa b'zman shetzavan v'karchon b'mashicha. That's when you dye it and you wrap it with some oil. Light tzavan v'light karchon b'mashicha. But if you don't dye it and you don't wrap it with any sort of oil, ein yaitzim, you're not allowed to go out on Shabbos with them because it's carrying. But if you went out with these things for an hour when it was still day, and I think the hour is lav dafka, but just as long as you went out Friday with it like that, then even if you didn't put any oil or any dye in it, is when you're allowed to go out with them. So basically, what are we learning from this? That if you went out and you use this thing before Shabbos, then it's gonna be good enough, and you're allowed to carry it out on Shabbos because clearly you're showing that you're using it as a protection, not just as a clothing to protect yourself from clothing. So therefore, it's considered a type of clothing, right?
It sounds like this is more machmir than Ravasi.
Why?
This you have to actually do the action.
Right. So Ravasi's also. No, Ravasi's also.
Yeah, the Ravasi you touched up is it's lavdavki. It's yoshev. You can use it for anything else after that.
No, but he had to have been yoshev. No, that's true.
Why does he have to do the yitzia here? Why does he have to go out? Just put it on his hand. He's showing that it's what it's for. The Yitzia is irrelevant.
I hear you, Kasha. I hear you, Kasha. All right. I hear what you're saying. You're saying he should just wear it around his house.
Yeah. He's showing what
Yeah.
it's for. That's the point.
It could be that Toisis, I don't know. You saw the Toisis. It could be Toisis is. He's not saying exactly your kasha, but it's similar. Actually, look at the last half of the Toisis. This is Cheinami Yitzia.
Yeah. Well, the Tiritz.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to it. But maybe we'll handle it after. But that's. I think that's what you're. It's very. It's a very good kasha. Anyways, let's just say it again clear. How does this show Rav Asi? Because even though this is talking about carrying on Shabbos, and Rav Asi is talking about muktza, but we're learning the same din, because this putting on this bracelet on Shabbos, right? The only way you're allowed to show that it's used as an article of clothing, in which case you'd be able to carry it out on Shabbos. This is obviously all sugis later on in the Masechta, right? But by showing that you're putting oil on it, that shows that you're using it as an article of clothing, and therefore you'd be allowed to carry it outside on Shabbos. But if you didn't put oil on it, then it shows that you're not using it as clothing, and it would just be something extra, and then you couldn't go out with it on Shabbos. So, but what the Brisa says, but if you wore it outside on Friday without putting oil, then that would be enough, right? Meaning, because you showed an action that you're using it. So that's what we say. Rav Asi is the same thing. Even if you didn't have it in mind, as long as you sat down on the wood, you did an action. So therefore, that would be enough. So that's the source in the Tanoim for Rav Asi, who was an Amora, right? So what Gersh is asking is that what does he have to go out with it? He doesn't have to go out with it. He could just wear it and show that that's. He doesn't have to actually go out of the rishus. Okay, so. Yeah, so that's okay. Vaita. Samar Rabashi, Afana Namitinu. We also learned this din Hakash al Gabi Amita. Right. So if you have straw that's on the bed, this is the classic case of muktza that's on the bed. I mean, the contemporary issue with this maybe would be if you left your wallet on your bed or your phone on your bed. Right. So what do you do with that on Shabbos? So Hakash al Gabi Amita. Right. So if you have the straw that's on top of a bed, Lo Yinanenu biyadei. The assumption in straw, the assumption is that's always either used to feed animals, or really, well, to feed animals wouldn't be so bad, but straw is normally used for fuel. Right in your house, you use straw to get the fires going. So that's muktza. So let's say the straw is on your bed, and you want to actually decide to use that straw to lay on. So akash al gabi amita, the straw that's on the bed, you can't move it with your hand and spread it out. You got to move it with your body, because that's not the right way to move muktza, so therefore you would be allowed to. Right? Rashi says, Kilach hayad. You can use it with the back of your hand. But if it would be the kash, would be used to feed animals, or if you had a pillow or a sheet or a blanket on it from Friday, then you're allowed to use it with your hand. Why? Because by having a blanket or a pillow on the bed, then that shows that the straw is going to be meant for, you show that straw is going to be meant for sleeping with it, and therefore it's okay, even though you didn't verbalize it, but as long as you showed an action by putting down the pillows and the blankets, then that's enough. Shmamino. So that's what we say. Uman Tana the Polygaleder of Shimon Gamliel. Who is the Tanakama? It's very interesting that the Gemara is asking that. The Gemara doesn't usually ask who the Tanakama is, right? But here it's asking that. Uman Tana the Polygaleder of Shimon Gamliel. Rab Chanina ben Akiva. It was Rab Chanina ben Akiva. The Chiyasar Rav Dimi Amar Ziri Amar Rab Chanina Pam Achas Halach Rabbi Chanina ben Akiva l'Makam Echad. One time, Rab Chanina ben Akiva went to a place. The Matzah Charoya Shal Dekel Shegidrom L'Shum Eitzim. The case that we said before. He found these piles of wood from a date tree, and they were ready. They were gathered for wood, for whatever fuel probably. When he told us Talmidim, go outside and think about them, meaning think about them that they're not going to be muktza, so that we're able to sit down on them tomorrow. And I didn't know Ibeis HaMishtahava, maybe it was for a wedding, Ibeis HaAvel Hava, or it was a Beis Avel. And that's why he wanted them to go out and think about it. Right? The that was maybe by Beis Avel Beis HaMishtah, because there's a lot of people, so the Torah. kasher in, like kasher loy. But here, in a regular case, he would be machmer, and he would have to make you actually tie up the bundle of wood. Meaning, so this story was that he said, go outside to the wood and think about that they should become not muktza, right? So we're saying that the reason why he told them all they have to do is think about it because they were busy making a wedding and making a base, or there was a base oval and arranging it, so they didn't have time to go there and tie it up. So just go out and think that we're going to use it on Shabbos, then it'll lose its muktza status. But in a normal situation, he would make you go out and tie it. Okay, so that is the Tana who is arguing Rosh Hashanah. So Amar Rav Yehuda, what you do back then, they had dirt floors. I think we learned this a couple days ago on the Daf also, and they used the dirt to cover over saliva and feces and whatever it is, right? So can you take the dirt from outside your house and bring it in, right? So Amar Rav Yehuda, a person can bring in a box of dirt, and he can do whatever he wants, right? So there it sounds like he could just go out and bring in the dirt, and he doesn't have to say anything or do anything. So Darish Marzucha made the Marzucha Rabbah. So Marzucha said in the name of Marzucha Rabbah, no, you have to specify a corner of the room in order to make it not muktza, right? Meaning if you just leave it hanging around, then that's not gonna work, right? You have to make Karen Zavas, make a corner for it, okay? Which is the way we paskin in Shulchan Aruch, right? That you have to do epis something to it.
Why? To be miyachid?
You have to be miyachid. Yeah, you don't have to do an action. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Let's see by the first, and then see what it means. Amar Rabbanu Kamed Rabba command. Who is that like? Rav Shimon Gamliel. That's like Rav Shimon Gamliel, who had said you have to do an action. Right? I'm saying it's like Rav Shimon Gamliel. Rav Shimon Gamliel said you don't have to do a maisa. Because if it's a Rabbanon, Amri Be'inan Maisa, and just bringing in a box of dirt into your house is not a Maisa, right? So it must be that he's going with Rav Shimon Gamliel. Amalu Rapapa, Filu Temer Rabbanon. No, you could even say that this is going to Rabbanon. Adkan like coming Rabbanon to be an Maisa. When did Rabbanon say you have to do a Maisa in the thing that you don't want it to be Muksa, Elamidi the Baravi the Be Maisa? That's only something that you could do a Maisa to. Like with wood, you can tie it up. Avamidi the Loibar Mavida Be Maisa, but something that you can't do a Maisa. Loy, that you don't need, right? And dirt, you don't. What mice are you doing?
You're bringing it in.
What?
You're bringing it in.
No, but the bringing it in is not a mice in the dirt. The bringing in is not a mice. The bringing, you do it every day. You bring in dirt in order to fix your house.
You bring in dirt in order that you should be able to cover the saliva.
Right, but you do that during the week too. No? The only thing is, though, I thought maybe you're going to ask, why can't you take some of the dirt out, scoop it out, and then
lift it?
Yeah, that I don't know. I don't know why that's right. I don't know why. Anyways, fine. So basically, the way we paskin in Shulchan Aruch is that you don't need any sort of ma'isa. We're pretty makel, and all you have to do is if you know you're going to need a rock. So all you have to do is it's got to be done before Shabbos, though. All you have to do is just think, the rocks that are in my driveway, I'm going to use them for whatever, for a paperweight and hold the door open, and that will be enough. That's the way we pass it.
You don't even have to verbalize, you're saying.
You don't have to verbalize, no.
It says on the bottom, the earth you can't move because it's earth. That's what he's saying.
What does that mean? Why
it only changes the earth's location. It doesn't make it more intrinsically more suitable. That's
I'm saying, but if you take a box of earth and then you scoop out some, that's not doing a mice in the earth.
No, you just move the earth. Moving it.
Maybe that's not doing a mice in the other earth that you use on Shabbos. So maybe that's what it is. Okay, I hear that. Okay, so name a today. Let's say this is a Machlokes Tanoim, right? Bachol chafinas akelim. You're allowed to scrub kelim. Chutz mikli kesef, meaning if you want to clean off your kelim on Shabbos, right? So you can do whatever you want with it. Chutz mikli kesef begarsukon. You can't do silver with garsukon. Some sort of dirt that would clean it off, right? Rashi says alum. Isn't there a word like that? Alum, aluminum, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, hon neser v'chol mutter. But if to do it with neser and chol, that's dirt, a different type of dirt, then that would be mutter. For Tanya neser v'chol also, but we have a brisa that says that Neser and Chol is Asr. My lab Hakam. So what's the Machlokes? Whether, meaning clearly there's a Machlokes Tanaim whether you could use Neser and Chol. So what's the Machlokes? The Marsa would be in Maisa. One says, no, you need to do a Maisa in order to make it not Muksa. Marsa will be in a Maisa. The other one holds that you don't need to do a Maisa. So you just use regular plain old dirt. So the Gemara says, "Loy the kuli alma, loy be no ma'isa." No, everybody holds you don't need a ma'isa. But like kasha, there's no kasha, and of course we get back to this again. Or Rabbi Yehuda, Damar Dava Shem Eschaven. Also, one is Rabbi Yehuda who says Dava Shem Eschaven is Aser, and Horab Shimon, Damar Dava Shem Eschaven Mutter. And one is talking about Rab Shimon who says Dava Shem Eschaven is Mutter.
What exactly is happening here with the silver? I don't understand.
You have like the tarnished silver, so you want to get it clean. So you're depending on what type of sand you're going to use to get off that tarnish. That would be allowed to. You'd be allowed to do it on Shabbos. Right? So Gemara thinks that the whole machlokes has to do with whether it's muktza or not, right? Like whether you meyachid it or not, and that would be the machlokes tanoim. And the Gemara is saying no, it has nothing to do with muktza. It has to do with the regular age-old machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, because we're afraid that you might take off some of the silver, right? So by scraping it down, the question is this dirt going to scrape off some of the silver, which would be Asr on Shabbos? So if you, right, so there is a chance that might happen. But if you hold like Rabbi Yehuda and it's Davar Shein and Mischavens, and then it's Asr to do it, because even if you don't intend to ruin your silver, but it's still going to be Asr. But you go to Rabbi Shimon, he holds Davar Shein and Mischavens is Mutter, so therefore even if it by mistake will take some of it off, Rabbi Shimon doesn't have a problem with it, right? But Garsikon, which is the first thing that would said everybody holds is Asr, that's for sure going to peel off some of the silver, and that's why that's for sure Asr on Shabbos, right? Okay, so then they're going to ask, B'mayu kimta lahadar shari Rabbi Shimon. So who do you say the one that said it's mutter to use this sand to polish your silver? Who's it like Rabbi Shimon? So then aim a seifa. Then what about the seifa? But you're not allowed to use this as like a shampoo, right? Meaning you want to use this to clean your hair. You're taking this dirt and you do it in your hair, and that will clean off your hair. You're Reb Shimon, Mishra Kashari, but if it's Reb Shimon, meaning everybody was saying, all opinions say you can't use it to clean off your hair. Why? Because you're afraid that it's going to pull out the hair. But Reb Shimon, Mishra Kashari. But if it's Reb Shimon, then it should be mutter, right? Because he holds Dava Shein V'Schaven as mutter, and even if you pull out some of the hair, it should be mutter. Now we're on a base. Nazir Chayfeh from a fasfus. A Nazir who's now allowed to cut his hair is allowed to scratch his hair on whenever he wants, right? But Avaloi started, but he's not allowed to comb his hair. Meaning you're allowed to use your hand to go like this. A Nazir could do that on his hair, because even if some hair comes out, it's not for sure going to happen. And Reb Shimon holds, since it was not intentional, it's mutter. But you can't comb.
For demonstrating.
Yeah. I don't think he chapped, but Avaloi started, but you can't comb it, right? So clearly, then this Mishnah can't be Reb Shimon, because Reb Shimon would hold you can use it on the hair. Ella, Hava Rabbi Yehuda. They're both Rabbi Yehuda. So if they're both Rabbi Yehuda, then they should be Asr. But Trey Tanaya, leave it to Rabbi Yehuda. And it's two Tanaim having a machlokes whether Rabbi Yehuda would hold it's good or not. Hi Tana, how's it go? Hi Tana, leave it to Rabbi Yehuda, Sava Gorer. Hi Tana, leave it to Rabbi Yehuda, Sava Loy Gorer. This Tana holds that it's for sure going to pull off some of the silver, so therefore it's Asr. And the other Tana, according to Rabbi Yehuda, says no, it's not going to pull off the silver, so therefore it should be mutter. Second one says, B'mayu kimta Rabbi Yehuda. If you're saying it's like Rabbi Yehuda, then aim a seifa upon of yoda v'ragla mutter. But you're allowed to use your hands, feet, and face. That's mutter. Hama aver seir. It's going to take off your hair, right? We just got finished saying that this that it might do hair removal. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, if it's Rabbi Yehuda, then even if it doesn't vade take off hair, but if it's a possibility it's going to take off hair, then Rabbi Yehuda is going to say it's also he holds unintentional halach on Shabbos is also. So the Gemara answers, maybe it's talking about a cotton who has no hair on his hands, feet, and face. Or it's talking about a woman who doesn't have. So it's talking about somebody who cannot have children. And a saris, one of the signs of a saris, a male saris, is that he does not have any body hair. Okay? Fine. Now we get into something, a very interesting a very interesting Gemara that I think has a very contemporary application, having nothing to do with Hilchos Shabbos. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, and the question is coming up a lot lately. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, offer levainsa shari. So this white dirt is mutter to use to wash with on Shabbos. Amar Rabbi Yosef, kuspa dismin shari, and kuspa dismin is mutter, right? That's the junk from sesame. Yeah, it always seems to be sesame seed. Seems to be a very what?
Sesame pulp.
I don't know. Seems to be sesame was very, very. They did a lot of stuff with sesame. Yeah. Amar Rava, offer pilpuli shari, dirt from peppers is mutter. Right? I mean, you grind up pepper, you make it like into dirt. It would also be mutter to wash with this stuff. Amar Rav Sheshes is barda shari. Barda's mutter. Right? You're allowed to wash your face with barda. My barda, Amar Rav Yosef, tilsa Allah, but tilsa asa, but tilsa sigli. It's it's a third of asa, which is hadassim, and it's a third. Allah is what? Allah is some sort of roots.
It says here a third of aloe, a third of myrtle.
Oh, aloe. They call Allah. Allah is aloe. Okay, I hear that. And sigli is
myrtle, a third of violets.
Violets, veal. Rashi says veal. All right, it's basically all this stuff is you're using fancy soap. Sounds like lady type stuff, right?
Hand sanitizer for Corona.
This seems like a little bit more, right? So Amar of Nechem Yosef, Kol Hecha Deleka Ruba Allah Shaper Dami. If it's not Roiv aloe, I guess that's the way they touch it. Shaper Dami, then it's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Where is it? Hold on a second.
What's the issue with aloe?
No. So no, because I guess it's more vada gonna pull out here, right? No.
I don't know.
Yeah, Rashi says it's gonna pull out here more. I don't know. I'm saying I don't know how aloe pulls out here any more than the others, but it pulls out here. Yeah. Fine. So let's see weiter. The Gemara goes off a second, and then it gets to something else, and then it goes back to this. What about beating up olives on Shabbos? Because you want olives, it seems, if they're not fully ready. So if you smash them up, they taste better. So can you do that on Shabbos? Is it even mutter to do that during the week? Meaning it's not covered for the food, like we discussed a bunch of blot ago, that you're not allowed to mistreat food. Is it even mutter during the week? So and he thought the reason was that the reason should be also is because you're making food lose out by smashing it. Lema pliga to Shmuel, and let's say he disagrees with Shmuel. The Amar Shmuel, I saw them called pass. A person can do whatever he needs with pass. Amri pas. So he answered Amri pas. So we thought maybe he holds like that Mandomer who holds that you could do whatever you want with food. So we say no, not necessarily. Pas doesn't get disgusting. When you want to use pas to hold your door open, to do mundane things, it's not going to get disgusting, assuming it's not soft, soft bread, assuming it's got a hard crust. Hani meisi, but these olives will get disgusting by beating them up. So that's why he had an issue with it. Fine. Now we go back to what we're discussing. They were sitting. So Amema Marzuch and Ravashi was sitting. Aisi Lakamaya Barda. So they brought this Barda stuff in front of them. Right? Amema Ravashi Moshu. Amema Ravashi washed their hands with it. Marzutra Loy Moshu, Beloy Moshu, Marzutra did not wash his hands. Amalei Loy Savar Lamar Lahadamar Rav Sheshes Barda Shari. Do you not hold of what Rav Sheshes says that Barda is mutter to wash with? And we're not going to be concerned about hair removal. Amalhu Rav Mordechai Barminei Demar Dafilu B'chol Namiloy. Forget about him. He doesn't even use this stuff during the week. It's not just a Shabbos issue. He doesn't even use it during the week. Sfirale, loy sfirale, I'm sorry. Dafilu b'chol nami loy sfirale. Even during the week, he doesn't hold of it. Savar laki hatatanya megarer adam gildei tzaya v'gildei makashal b'sarei. A person can peel off dirt and cuts that are on his skin b'shvil tzarei if it's for tzar. Meaning, if it's bothering him, then he's allowed to peel these things off. And b'shvil yafa is usher, but you cannot take off scars and scratches and all those things if it's there to make you beautiful. Right? So he's afraid. So the reason why he said this barda mixture is also to wash with during the week is because it's a female thing to do. Okay? And that would be also even during the week. And who did they hold like that? Held that you are allowed to wash with soap during the week and even on Shabbos with this specific type of soap. A person has to wash his hands, feet, and face every day for his kainai. Literally means his owner, for his creator. Everything you do is for Hashem, right? Everything was created for kavod, so therefore we have to show Hashem that we were created, so we were created to kavod Hashem. So we have to show Hashem respect by making sure that we're clean. That is the halacha. You are supposed to wash your face every morning. That wasn't what I was getting at. The point that the more practical issue here is that we seem to have a machlokes where the washing with soap, with these fancy soaps, is usher during the week. Well, it's both soaps and also removing dirt and cuts and all that type of thing just for beauty, right? The Gemara seems to be coming out that it would be usher to do these things for just to remove dirt and makas from your body if it's just in order to beautify yourself. Okay?
Like silbash? I mean, like silbash isha?
Yeah, like silbash gever. Yeah, Rashi says, Layibash gever simlas isha. That's what women do. So to use these fancy types of soaps and all that sounds like, at least there's a shita in the Shulchan Aruch that it's usher. Right, now, I'll tell you, so what does it have to do with the practical? And nobody laugh at this, but I can tell you that I am getting a lot of questions and it's getting a lot more in these last few years is hair removal for men. Okay, specifically those that have unibrows. And their wives it makes the wives nervous, it makes the mothers nervous, and the kids in school are making fun of them, and they want to know if they're allowed to do it. Now the pashut halacha is that it's not allowed because that's what women do. Right? Yeah, you all in agreement with that? Okay, so look at this Tosfos, and I don't know why they don't bring this Tosfos. I know Reb Shlomo Zalman paskins like this. He doesn't, but I don't remember him bringing it from the Tosfos. Obviously, I don't have the Svarim with me, unfortunately, so I can't look it up. But I know Reb Shlomo Zalman matters it for this reason. Look at the Tosfos b'shvil tzarei, because of his pain. Right? Because we said, according to everybody, if you're doing these, you're removing all these things because you're in pain, then that's not to beautify yourself. So then that's mutter. Right? So Rashi, the Tosfos says, Vim ein lo tsar. Yeah, you see that the Tosfos, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tosfos and down, or 6. B'shvil tzar, right? Because of his pain. Vim ein lo tsar acher, elas shemishbayish leilech bein b'nei adam. But if there's no physical pain, but you're embarrassed to go in between people like that, shari dein lecha tsar gadol mizeh. There's no bigger tsar than being embarrassed, right? So if that's the case, and a guy's embarrassed because he has body hair, or he's embarrassed because he has a unibrow, so then the Ferish is that it would be mutter. Right? Now, again, if he wants to make himself look pretty, that's not allowed. A man is not allowed to do that. But if it's because he's embarrassed from people, and I had this, a few kids from school said that I'm being made fun of in school, and can I do it? So if that's the case, this Tosfos is very clear that it's mutter to do that. Al-halacha Reb Shlomo Zalman matters it. For dating, for sure. You have the same thing. If a guy has white hair and for dating and he's embarrassed about it, so Reb Shlomo Zalman says it's mutter to do that, even though
what about the guy says he's embarrassed because he has white hair and he's not pulling it out?
What, white hair? Yeah, but if he has to be legit embarrassed, it has to be a legit embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? But if it's legitimate because it's embarrassed, it seems like it would be mutter, yeah.
What about baldness? Now, I'm asking for a friend. I'm saying, you said it's not allowed. You know what we tell somebody?
You know what we tell somebody when they say they're asking for a friend? We say, why doesn't the friend come and say he's asking for a friend? Right?
No, but those products that you can put on your hair to make it grow back or whatever, you said it's not allowed.
It's not going to help you.
The pashtus is it's not allowed. The pashtus is it's not allowed, but if it's because of busha, Tosfos says if you're embarrassed, it's mutter. He says,
what does Shulchan Aruch say?
The Shulchan Aruch doesn't discuss it. That's what's interesting. Shulchan Aruch does not bring down this heter. He doesn't. Shlomo Zalman, I know, goes with it, but Shulchan Aruch, you're right. That's a good point. I forgot to mention that. Shulchan Aruch does not bring down this Tosfos. But
Shlomo Zalman's bringing down his head.
I don't remember. See, I couldn't look it up because I don't have access to the Svarim. I think I saw it in a sefer in Shayasha.
Zevi's going to get Avicor.
What that is for? I have no idea what it is.
The Rogaine, whatever, no?
Yeah, but anyways, I don't remember him quoting the Tosfos, but I know he's matter it. He's matter it for Busha. So yeah, whatever it is, it's still Tosfos that yeah. Okay, it's Motzei Shabbos. Should we stop here? I guess we'll stop here. We'll do the rest.
Does this have to apply to any other parts of halacha?
What do you mean?
Of embarrassment being considered a tsar, where that we would normally be matter?
Possibly. I can't think of any. What, you think of any examples offhand?
No, I'm asking. I don't
know. Any other cases of tsar? Well, we do call tsar. No, but that's a physical. I mean,
let's say I'm all dirty on Yom Tov, let's say, and I want to be able to take a shower.
100%. That's that we discussed. Rabbi Kiva Eger says if somebody's bitzar on Yom Tov, he could wash with hot water that was heated up.
No, but I'm not bitzar because it hurts. I'm bitzar because it's embarrassing.
Bitzar is not busha.
Okay, so then l'chayra that would be the same thing.
I'm just embarrassed. No? I have a stain or whatever it is. I got a big coffee blotch on my forehead.
Okay, so what about showering during the 9 days because you're embarrassed? Or what is another case the person can bring?
Body odor, let's say.
Body odor, right? No, body odor, 100%. So you're embarrassed from it. So then it would be mutter. Yeah, it would be mutter. Yeah, based on that. Yeah,
what if it's 100%. A Refuah thing, Yaakov? Meaning the doctor tells you have, let's say you have like a fungus or something that you need to shower.
No, that's yeah.
What? And you do it. You have to shower every day for X amount. You have to put this stuff like this medicine on after whatever, and you have a 3-day yontif. Is that okay? Is that something that
100%? 100% would be okay. Somebody who was sitting shiva last week or 2 weeks ago, and I don't know, sometime over this whole corona thing, he was sitting shiva and he was afraid that he was getting the corona or he had it or this, that. And they want to know if they can take a hot shower during Shiva. 100%. Of course, they should take a hot shower during Shiva. As though, again, these when it's a rechitza. It's rechitza shaltainuk that's usher. Stam rechitza for any other reason is okay. So if guy has a common other question, somebody has a surgery and they got to do shave the body hair, right? So there's no shaila. You shave the body hair because it's refuah. It has nothing to do with beauty. It's only if it's an Israel's beauty. Having nothing, anything else is fine.
I don't know the reason. I just know that it was there. That Chacham Ovadia Yosef mattered the eyebrow tattoos. Again, I don't know if this fits into this conversation, but when we talk about this, it just kept coming into my head. I can't.
Well, that's a different issue there. That's an issue of making a what's it called? Tattoo. That was the issue of tattooing.
With a tremendous,
right? So that's an issue. But he was matter, and as long as I think he doesn't matter if it's permanent. He matters it as long as it'll have to be redone after a while. No, from what I remember.
And that's fine.
From what I remember. Yeah.
I wish I was, but I'm not.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Fine and dandy.
Thank you.
Tomorrow. What time tomorrow?
I think 9:15, right? Regular time, 9:15.
Okay, very good.
All right. A good Tvach and a good yard. Everybody should stay safe.
Good Chodesh. Thank you. Good Chodesh.
Hey, did everybody remember to count Sphira tonight?
Yes, it did. My wife.
A lot of people forgot.
Last night or tonight?
Tonight.
Why tonight?
For some odd reason, Motzei Shabbos is like when you're davening b'yechidus. It seems like everybody forgot.
Who's davening b'yechidus?
I don't know. Who's davening
Rabbi Stein.
When do you do Kiddush Levana?
Jesse has a mini right in his backyard.
Yeah.
Do you do Kiddush Levana?
No one in Lakewood is davening b'yechidus.
I think somebody said that the Mailud was early. You could do Kiddush Levana.
It was Wednesday.
Mailud was early?
I got it.
Yeah, it was Wednesday.
Rabbi Orlean sent out something a few minutes ago to do Kiddush Levana.
Yeah, it's cloudy. Last I checked, it was cloudy.
I don't know.
Now, if you go outside, you do Kiddush Levana, there's 10 people doing. Do you say Kaddish?
It's a good question.
On my block, on my block, I want to, I didn't go. I didn't ask you yet, but the guys went out.
If they're all outside at the same time,
say Kaddish.
You said you couldn't go outside for someone to say Kaddish. Why would Kiddush Levanim?
No, but here they're all outside anyways.
You go
They're
outside
all outside.
my block. You have to understand my block. It's a very what's it called? So we all go
cares
outside.
about
He lives
your
on
block?
a. He lives
Bovis
on
doesn't know
a.
your block?
He
No,
lives in the
because we all go
slums.
out, if I go
he's got about
outside and I
100 people
turn
living
around
on
and
his.
there's 10 people right there saying Kiddush Levanim, it's not like we made a minyan together. Now we're standing there within 20 feet of each other because that's the way we live. You can't, I'm asking, should I say Kaddish?
Go to the pizza shop, say Kiddush Levanim, and say Kaddish. What's the problem?
Go to Seasons Express.
Love it.
Seasons Express was so packed on Erev Shabbos when I went after Mommy. It was insane. You couldn't get in or out.
Well, people have to get stuff for Shabbos. People have to get last minute things.
They don't
for
have
Shabbos.
to wait till
They were
Erev
all
Shabbos.
walking out with the same Slurpees that my kids were.
Listen, once you're going, you take a Slurpee too. You know what I mean? Once you're in there, you don't have to not have a Slurpee.
Letting in so many people.
So, Rabbi Stein, question for you.
Yeah.
About this minion behind my house. If they were spread out, that's one thing, but they're all on top of each other.
Well,
There's
that's
really no
why.
way to
That
call.
is why the Rabbanim don't want the minyanim. That is
Right,
exactly
so there's no way that I can call, being that that's against the law.
I thought you were blasting. I thought you were blasting music on there.
But this was on Shabbos.
Yeah, but this was on Shabbos.
So put it on a Shabbos clock for next week.
But really, they can't be reported, even though they're breaking the laws of the land. And they were told. People yelled at them.
Are they breaking the law, or are they just breaking what the Rabbanim say?
No, they're
which is
breaking.
worse. I don't know which is worse.
Breaking both, though.
Peretz, can you cut the recording?
They're doing the minion.